Hello and welcome to Loppy Loves Iceland. If you haven't been here before, my name is Lauren and on this channel I talk about my life as an immigrant living in Iceland. Today I am doing a hotel review. I recently had the chance to stay at Reykjavik Hilton Nordica, which is a Hilton hotel in the capital city in Reykjavik. It is quite a pricey hotel, so I thought I would share my opinions so that you can make an informed decision before you book there. So first of all, I should say that it isn't right in the centre of Reykjavik. It is a little bit in the eastern side of town, which personally is my favourite part of town. It's on the street that I used to work on when I lived in Reykjavik, and it's very close to where I took my Icelandic lessons, and a lot of my life was around the area when I used to live in the capital. I don't know how much my room was because I did stay there for free. I had a work event at the hotel and my company also paid for those of us who had travelled from out of town to go to the event. But when I did look at the prices around about the time, for a double room, which is what I was staying in, the price was between about 26 to 35,000 kroner from what I remember. I'll put the prices on the screen of what that is in euros, dollars and pounds as usual. So when we arrived to the hotel, check-in was pretty quick and easy. There was a little bit of a queue because there were a lot of people from my company checking in at about the same time. But yeah, check-in was painless, quick, easy. When the queue had gone down, they were very, very efficient. The staff were very friendly. I was staying in room 827, so it was on one of the upper floors, and we used the lift to go up there. We did have to use the key card to activate the lift. I don't know if that's the case for every floor, because it seemed that if you were on a lower level, that you could just press the button and the lift would work, but at least for the floor that we were on, you had to use the key card for the lift to even just go somewhere. Another thing to point out is that when we got to the room, I was confused why none of the electrics were working for a while. It is one of the rooms where you do have to put the key card inside like a little holder to get the electric to work inside the room. That is fairly common. I don't know why it took me quite a while to work that out this time. The room itself was a pretty decent size for Reykjavik. Reykjavik doesn't have the biggest hotel rooms generally, at least not in my experience. This was a good sized room for this city. There was tea and coffee making facilities and a kettle inside the room, which is pretty good because that's not always the case in Iceland or in Reykjavik. I find it's very hit and miss whether you get a kettle in the room. You can usually make tea or coffee in like a common area if it's not in the room. But it was very nice to have that there in the room, and there was also quite a good selection of teas. I think there was some just regular English breakfast tea. I think there was also green tea and a fruit tea, I think, from what I remember. And there was also regular coffee and decaf coffee, which I love because I only have one caffeinated coffee a day and then I switch to decaf if I want coffee again. So that was a really nice touch. The bathroom was also a good size. The shower was pretty big and there was even a seat inside the shower for accessibility, which were all really nice things to see. The view from our window wasn't great. We did have a view of the car park. Look at the view out the window. Oh my god, Sigurjón's here. It did look a bit nicer at night because we had all of the city lights then, but yeah, the view of the car park wasn't the best. There is a mountain view from the front of the hotel, so I'm sure there are rooms that have that view, that really nice view of Mount Esja, but we didn't have that, unfortunately. Something that I just thought was really cool in the room, there was this really cool desk lamp that had adjustable brightness. There was like a slider and you could choose how bright or dim you wanted the lamp. If I was staying there for a few nights, I definitely would have used that at some point to, sit down and do some writing or something, but because we were just there for one night and we were there for a party, didn't get the chance to make use of it, but I did think that was really cool. Something strange that I noticed about the door, I say strange, it might come in useful if you are travelling with children. There are 2 peepholes in the door, so there's like one at regular eye level, and then there's another one that's kind of like a child height, really far down on the door. I don't have kids, but if you were travelling with kids, maybe that wouldn't be useful if you were leaving the kids in the room and, you know, you knocked on the door to be let in and they wanted to see who it was. But yeah, that was something that I noticed that I don't think I've seen before in a hotel. We did have breakfast included in our stay, provided by the company, but I do believe that breakfast is an additional charge and is fairly expensive. But there was also the option to have breakfast in the room. I don't know if that was an option for us, because I don't know if you had to pay extra for an in-room breakfast, but there was a sign that was left, like one of the do not disturb signs. There was also another sign that was the breakfast menu, and you could like tick off what you wanted. And I think that it said that you had to have left that sign out before 2 a.m, which is really decent time. The room also came with an ironing board and iron, which was amazing and definitely came in useful, because my boyfriend did have to iron his shirt before the event, so that was wonderful. Didn't have to ask for it at reception, it was just in the room ready to use. There was also a hairdryer. There was even an ice machine in the corridor. So in Iceland you just drink cold water from the tap, because, you know, it's fresh, it's clean, it's good water. But if you wanted ice, you could just go down the hall and get ice from the ice machine, and you didn't have to ask reception or anything, it was just there. So we spent a little bit of time getting ready for the party. We were not particularly excited to go to the party, we were mainly just there for the hotel. We got ready and went down, and we saw the events room at the Hilton, and it was split into 2. So there was a little room at first where we had our starters and we hung out for a little bit, and then we went into the main area with all of the seating to watch the show and have our main meal. I didn't get any pictures of the main room because it was full of people and I obviously don't want to catch anyone on camera. Anyway, the smaller room was really nicely decorated. The food was also really good, especially the starters. I liked that the starters, there was lots of tables of different things and everything was marked. So as a vegetarian in Iceland, parties can sometimes be a little bit of a nightmare because sometimes they only have meat options besides dessert. And desserts usually contain strawberries, which I'm allergic to. So yeah, I'm not always confident that I'm going to get something to eat, but everything was well labelled with like, this is vegan, this isn't. And I can't remember what we had, but it was very good food for starters at least. The main course was a little bit uninventive for me. I had, I think it was cauliflower with chimichurri sauce, which a lot of places are doing at the moment. It was alright, but it wasn't, you know, the best food I've ever had. So then we left the party early to go and enjoy the room because that was the main event for us. I stayed and read in bed for a little bit, and my boyfriend's wonderful camera skills came in. I was reading Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite Bridgerton book is. And my boyfriend was watching TV before we went to sleep. And I will say that the bed was incredibly comfortable. It was really cosy, really nice, and I slept very well on that bed. In the room, the window could be opened at least a little bit to let fresh air in. I don't think it could open all the way out for safety reasons, but you can definitely open the room if you need a little bit of ventilation. And then the next morning when we went down for breakfast, we decided to take the stairs to explore a little bit more of the hotel. On our floor, there was an executive lounge, but you had to have a key card to get in. It looked very nice through the window. We did see if our key card worked because we were like, maybe this is for people that are just staying on our floor, and we got lucky. But no, it didn't work. So you do have to maybe stay in a special room or pay for access for that lounge. But it looked very nice from the outside, and I would like to go in there at some point. On one of the other floors, there was a boardroom, which again, looked like a very, very professional boardroom. On the floor below, and I believe on a lot of the other floors, where the executive lounge was on our floor, there was just a few seats looking out the window to see the view. And there was also like a window sticker that had information, I think, about mountains and maybe islands. There was some very interesting art on the floors, and it was quite nice going down and seeing all these different art pieces. Nothing matched, it was all very different. I think one of my favourites was this interesting fish artwork. I do have to tell you about the breakfast. So in my experience of staying in hotels in Reykjavik, breakfast is usually not great. If you are used to like a continental kind of breakfast, that's not always what you get. There are some hotels that have it, but in my opinion, it's usually not the best here in Iceland. This was a full continental breakfast. There was a hot and cold buffet, so many options. I couldn't take too much footage because the room was absolutely full of people. We struggled to find a seat, and when we left I did notice that some people were just using the seating in the reception area, and the staff didn't seem to have a problem with that. So if it's full, you can take your plate out into the reception area. You don't have to stay in the restaurant. I did get a photo of my first plate of food. I did go back for more. This is not the only thing I had for breakfast. It was just the first thing that caught my eye. So I had a couple of pancakes, roast potatoes, which I think was an interesting choice for breakfast, but a good choice. I love potatoes any time of day. But yeah, I found that odd that that was on the breakfast menu, but it was good. Very good potatoes. And also this kind of vegetable omelette bake kind of thing, which I thought it was really good, but I am not really a fan of eggs in general. So I don't usually go for the omelette, but that just called me, and it was very good. So I recommend. But one thing I will say, I did notice there was a lot of dust on the shelf in the breakfast area, so I don't know how often they deep clean that area. A dusty shelf does not really bother me, but I just thought I'd point it out in case that is something that you don't want in a hotel. And then the last thing to do was leave the hotel. And yeah, the entrance is these revolving doors that are quite scary because in my opinion they went quite fast. So yeah, scary revolving doors. There are also some facilities at the hotel that we didn't get the chance to use because we were not staying long enough. There is also a spa that you do have to book to use, I believe. At least if you want a massage or anything. I don't know if you need to book if you just want to use the sauna, but that is available. We didn't use it. There is also a very good restaurant there. I have heard many good things, and I was surprised to learn that that restaurant is in the Hilton. I just knew the name of the restaurant but didn't know where it was. We didn't try dinner at the restaurant. I don't know if the breakfast was that restaurant's breakfast or if the breakfast room was different. I didn't go out and search for the restaurant, so I don't know. But judging by the breakfast food and the food that we had at the event, the food was amazing there, so the restaurant I'm sure is very good. Would I stay there again? For me personally, it depends on the price of the room. We had a very good experience. It was very enjoyable, but I am not someone that spends a lot of money on hotels generally, so if I got an offer or I got the chance to stay there for cheap, then yeah, absolutely, I would stay again. It was a really good hotel. At the rate that I think our room would have been, personally, probably not. And that's not a dig against the hotel, it's just how much money I am comfortable on spending on a hotel room. I am someone who's perfectly happy staying in a hostel, you know, in a dorm. Something else to consider if you want to stay there is the walking distance into town. For me, I am quite a fast walker. It takes me 10 to 15 minutes to walk into downtown Reykjavik from the hotel. But if you are a slower walker or have mobility issues, it might be the wrong location for you to stay in, because you are not right in the centre of Reykjavik, and there are many hotels that are right in the centre. It's not too far, you know, and it is just a straight walk. It's just one road to the centre. But if you are not comfortable walking at that kind of distance, then maybe it's not for you. So that's it from me today. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever stayed in this hotel or any other hotel in Reykjavik that you think I should look into. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!